One of the most common questions people ask is, if she was so unhappy, why didn't she just leave? Sometimes it's asked with curiosity, sometimes with frustration, sometimes with judgment. And honestly, for many years, I asked myself the same question: why did I stay? Why did I keep trying? Why did I keep hoping? Why did I spend years fighting for something that was making me unhappy? If you have ever asked yourself that question, or if you've looked at another woman and wondered the same thing, today's episode is just for you. Because the answer is usually far more complicated than people think. The understanding of this question can help you stop judging yourself and sometimes others too. The story people see from outside, things often look so simple. A woman is unhappy, the relationship isn't working, there are constant fights, there is criticism, there is distance, there is loneliness. So people assume the solution should be simple too. Just leave. But human beings don't make decisions based on only facts, right? We make decisions based on emotions as well. There is hope, fear, responsibility, guilt, love, dreams, and sometimes all of these exist at the same time. That's where things become confusing. Because a woman can be deeply unhappy and still have 10 reasons to stay. For years, I knew something wasn't right in my marriage. Not every day, not every moment, but enough to know that I wasn't happy. Looking back now, I can see that I spent a large part of my marriage trying to make things work, trying to make him happy, trying to prevent arguments, trying to become whatever version of myself would finally make the relationship peaceful. Whenever there was a problem, I looked for what I could do differently. Maybe I should speak differently. Maybe I should behave differently. Maybe I should be more patient. Maybe I should be more understanding. Maybe I should try harder. And every time something painful happened, I told myself the same thing: things will improve. That's the part people don't always understand. Most women don't stay because they enjoy suffering. They stay because they genuinely believe things can get better. Hope is a beautiful thing. It helps us survive difficult times. It helps us keep going when life becomes challenging. But sometimes hope can also quietly become a trap, especially in relationships. Because every relationship has good moments as well, even the unhappy ones. A good week, or a good piece of conversation, an apology, or a promise. Sometimes it's a holiday. You always have a few peaceful days, and then suddenly you start thinking, maybe this is the turning point. Maybe things are changing. Maybe we are finally moving in the right direction. And then things go back to how they were before. But by then, you've already invested more time, more effort, more emotional energy. So you stay. again, and then you hope again. And before you realize it, years have passed by. One more conversation, one more promise, one more chance, one more attempt. Many women are not staying in the relationship they have. They are staying in the relationship they hope will eventually exist. And that's a very important difference. When children enter the picture, everything changes. Even when the difficult relationship is difficult, even when they are unhappy, even when they know things are not healthy, because now there is another question: what about my child? This is where many women become trapped between two painful choices: stay and continue feeling unhappy, or leave and worry about how separation will affect the child. Neither option feels easy, neither option feels good. And because neither option feels good, many women delay making any decision at all. They tell themselves, let me wait until my child is older. Let me wait until school is over. Let me wait until this phase passes. Let me wait till things settle down. Years can disappear inside these waiting periods. Not because the woman is weak, not because she can't figure things out, but because she's trying to protect someone she loves. The one thing I noticed again and again that is that many women carry enormous sense of responsibility for the success of a relationship. When things go wrong, their first instinct is often, what can I do differently? How can I fix this? What am I missing? How do I make this work? And while self reflection is healthy, there comes a point where it becomes something else. It becomes self blame. The relationship is struggling, she blames herself. The communication isn't working, she blames herself. He is unhappy, again, she blames herself. The marriage is falling apart, she blames herself. Slowly, she starts carrying the responsibility for things that were never hers to carry in the first place. And because she feels responsible, she keeps trying. If she keeps trying, she keeps staying. And if she keeps staying, she keeps hoping. The cycle continues and continues. What most people don't see when someone finally leaves a long term unhappy relationship is that the decision didn't happen overnight. It didn't. Most of the time, the decision was being wrestled for with months, sometimes years. The leaving happens in one moment, but the struggle started long before that. There are hundreds of private conversations nobody hears, thousands of thoughts nobody sees, countless nights lying awake, wondering, can this be fixed? Am I expecting too much? Should I stay? Should I leave? What what if I regret it? What if things improve after I leave? What if they improve if I stay? And that's why judging these decisions from the outside is so dangerous. Because we rarely know what someone has been carrying. Maybe sometime there isn't something wrong with you. If you are listening to this today and you spend years feeling stuck in an unhappy relationship, I want you to hear this carefully. The fact that you stayed does not automatically mean you're weak. It does not automatically mean you're foolish or you lack courage. Sometimes it also means that you loved deeply. Sometimes it means that you hoped deeply. Sometimes it means you carried enormous responsibility. Sometimes it means you were trying to protect your children. Sometimes it means you genuinely believed things could improve. And sometimes it means you were simply doing the best you could with the information, emotions, and fears you had at the moment. If nobody has told you this before, let me say it today. You don't have to judge yourself for staying. You don't have to defend yourself either. You can simply try to understand yourself because understanding creates clarity, and clarity is where healing often begins. But hope is only one part of the story. When women look back years later, many realize they weren't staying only because of love, or only because of children, or only because they hoped things would improve. There were other things happening underneath, things that were much harder to see at the time. Fear, there was uncertainty, the life they imagined losing, the opinions of other people, the thought of starting over, the terrifying question that what happens next. And sometimes those forces are far more powerful than we realize. Let's talk about that. One thing I've noticed over the years is that many women think they are staying because they love someone. And sometimes it's very true. That does happen. But when we look a little deeper, we often discover something else as well. That's fear. Not fear of the relationship, fear of life after the relationship. Because however painful the present may be, it is familiar. You know the routines, you know the arguments, you know the disappointments, you know what tomorrow probably looks like. The future, however, is unknown, and the unknown can be really terrifying, especially when your mind starts filling in the blanks. What if I can't manage financially? What if my child blames me? What if I regret this decision? What if nobody loves me again? What if I end up alone? What if I fail? Something interesting is happening here, isn't it? The relationship slowly stops becoming the thing you are evaluating. Instead, you start evaluating all the scary possibilities that might happen after leaving. And because the mind can create 100 frightening stories about the future, staying starts to feel safer. Not because the relationship feels safe, but because the future feels frightening. And that's very important to notice. The life you have thought you would have, there is another loss that many women don't recognize. They are not only grieving the relationship, they are grieving the future they imagined as well. Most of us don't enter a marriage expecting it to end, or you wouldn't get married, right? We imagine growing old together, watching our children grow, celebrating milestones, building a home, creating memories, living a certain kind of life. And when the relationship starts falling apart, that dream starts falling apart too. Many women think, I'm not ready to leave him. But sometimes the deeper truth is, I'm not ready to let go of the life I thought we would have. That can be heartbreaking because you're not only losing a relationship here, you're losing a future you emotionally invested in for years, a future that felt real. a future you could see, a future you planned for. And letting go of that dream can feel like losing a part of yourself. When saving the relationship becomes your identity, it's something I understand so deeply. For years, whenever there was a problem in my marriage, my first thought was, what can I do differently? How do I fix this? How do I make this work? And on the surface, that sounds responsible. But over time, something dangerous can happen. You stop evaluating the relationship. You start evaluating yourself. Every argument becomes, maybe I'm too emotional. Every criticism becomes, maybe I need to improve. Every disappointment becomes, maybe I should try harder. Slowly, the goal stops being, is this relationship healthy? And it suddenly becomes, can I save it? And when saving the relationship becomes your mission, walking away from it can start feeling like a personal failure, not because the relationship worked, not because it was healthy, but because you have spent years trying to make it work. Your identity becomes tied to fixing it. And that's where women get trapped without even realizing it. If you are an Indian woman, some of this may sound really familiar to you. Every marriage has problems. कॉम्प्रोमाइज तो करना ही पड़ता है यार. नो बडी इज परफेक्ट. बच्चों के बारे में सोचो. शादी में एडजस्टमेंट तो करनी ही पड़ती है. Most of these statements are not said with bad intentions, and they are often said by people who genuinely believe they are helping. But after hearing these messages for years, women start beginning to absorb something without they even realize it. They learn that enduring is admirable. They learn that sacrificing is expected. They learn that staying is strength and leaving feels like a failure. So instead of asking the question that am I happy, they start asking, am I trying hard enough? Those two questions lead to very different outcomes. Many women spend years answering the second question while completely ignoring the first. Emotional attachment is not always love. And this may be one of the most important things we talk about today. Because many women tell themselves, I still love him. And maybe they do. Maybe they do. But emotional attachment and love are not always the same thing. Sometimes what we are attached to is not the person, it's the history, the memories, the family, the routines that you have, the familiarity of everything that's going on, the life we build around that relationship. Sometimes we are attached to who they were in the beginning. Sometimes we are attached to who we hoped they would become. Sometimes we are attached to the possibility. And that's where the confusion begins. Because missing someone and waiting and wanting a future with them are not necessarily the same things, right? Loving someone and being emotionally attached are not necessarily the same things either. Many women think they are struggling to let go of a person, when actually they are struggling to let go of an idea that things will eventually become what they always hope they would be. And once you see that distinction, many things start making sense. One myth that I would love to challenge is the idea that strong women leave quickly. I wish life worked like that, but it doesn't. I have met highly educated women who stayed for years, successful business women who stayed for years, women earning more than their husbands who tolerated violence and stayed for years, women who admired stayed for years, not because they were weak, because intelligence doesn't cancel fear, it doesn't overrule your emotions. Income doesn't cancel grief. Success doesn't cancel attachment. And confidence in one area of life doesn't automatically create confidence in another area. A lady can run a company and still be terrified of starting over emotionally. A woman can manage a team of 50 people and still struggle to make one painful personal decision. These things are more human than most people realize. Staying is painful, leaving is painful. Sometimes I wish more people understood this. For many women, there isn't a painless option. Staying hurts, leaving hurts, trying hurts, letting go hurts. Every option involves a loss. And when every option feels painful, people often delay making a choice. Not because they are confused, but because they're just trying to avoid pain. And who can blame them? The problem is that avoiding the decision doesn't remove the pain, it simply stretches it across more months, sometimes more years. Maybe one day you will look back and realize something. The years you stayed were not proof that you were weak. They were proof that you were trying to save something that mattered to you, trying to protect people you loved, trying to honor promises you took seriously, trying to make sense of a situation that was hurting you. And maybe today, for the first time, you don't need to ask, why did I stay so long? Maybe the better question is, what was I hoping for? What was I afraid of? What was I carrying? Because when you understand those answers, something important happens. You stop fighting your past. You stop judging the woman you used to be. And you start seeing her with compassion that she so deserves. She wasn't perfect. Neither are you today. But she was doing the best she could with what she knew at that time. And maybe that's enough. If this conversation felt uncomfortably familiar, I want you to just remember one thing. You do not owe anyone an explanation for how long it took you to understand your situation. Some lessons take time, some decisions take time, some truths take time. The goal isn't to judge yourself for the years that have passed. The goal is to understand them. Because once you understand them, you stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, now I see things clearly. What do I want for myself moving forward? And that is a very different conversation. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Until next time, take care of yourself. Bye.